Hello everybody, how are you doing? Welcome back to Rule of Two Review. Super exciting day because we have some new Metroid Samus Returns goodness to discuss. So it is obviously no surprise that I'm excited to talk about Metroid because of course, two Metroid games are coming to us very soon, including Metroid Samus Returns on the 3DS in less than 1 month's time, September 15th. Holy cow, that is like right around the corner and we are going to get this new portable handheld Metroid game. That's a 2D side-scrolling, amazing-looking game. I've, of course, spoken about Metroid quite a bit lately, mostly focusing on Metroid Prime. I did recently discuss Metroid Samus Returns for about 20 minutes or so, kind of breaking down what this game really seems to be. And what's really exciting is today, Nintendo dropped a brand new trailer for Metroid Samus Returns, and it was like 4.5 minutes of all the overview goodness we could possibly want. A lot of details, a lot of kind of narrated information about what some of the features and the abilities and stuff are going to be. It was really cool, I'm not gonna lie. And to be fair, it's not like it was chock full of brand new stuff. It's not like there was necessarily a lot of surprises, but we saw a couple of things detailed for the first time, and it gave us a more expanded look at what we can probably expect from this game. So initially, I wasn't even gonna watch the trailer. I wasn't interested in spoiling the game or kind of overloading my senses with all the Metroid stuff. I wanted to go in fairly fresh. I watched all the E3 Treehouse demo stuff. I watched the 1 or 2 previous story trailers that came out, and I was like, I'm good. This new 4-minute trailer is probably awesome that everyone's talking about, but I'm gonna wait. And you know what? I couldn't do it. I gave in. I'm such a sap man. I just couldn't hold off. So I watched the trailer and I gleaned some pretty interesting info from it, and that's what I wanted to discuss with you guys. As a Metroid super fan and a super Samus dork, I felt it was worth it for me to discuss for a couple of minutes what I think we can really expect, kind of building on a lot of what this trailer showed us. Because again, what's nice about the trailer is it was pretty focused and to the point. It had narration, it had a guy talking about Metroids are these things, we needed a bounty hunter, we got a legend. I mean, that was the coolest line, of course, in the whole thing. One of the things that I think we can really expect from this game, reminding ourselves that it is a remake of a previously made Metroid game. This is a remake of Metroid 2, so there already was an existing story and level progression that happened back when this game came out in the early 90s. And I think watching some of this trailer play out and seeing the details of the top screen and the bottom screen with the map and all that stuff, and even just paying attention to the game and all the shots of the game we've seen, I'm fairly certain that they've probably almost entirely recreated this entire map from Metroid 2. I remember Metroid 2 not feeling so much like it was tiny, small corridors, which is kind of how the map for Metroid Fusion felt to me. Metroid 2, to me, had a very open feel, and to be fair, I think they did that on purpose, because that game, because of the limitations of the Game Boy at the time, is very known for having the very small Game Boy screen and a huge Samus sprite in the middle of that game, of that screen. And she takes up so much of your view, and through that, I think they knew they couldn't make a bunch of narrow corridors and hallways. They had to have a lot of big, wide open spaces and wide open rooms. And it worked for that game at that time, sure. But now we have a different sort of ability in terms of graphics, and they can obviously put all the fancy stuff on screen that they want to. And seeing the traversal, the little bit that we can glean from the quick shots we've seen of this game, I feel like they've recreated the map. And then, of course, when you actually see the physical map itself on the bottom screen of the 3DS, which, of course, is something that at the time wasn't possible. Super Metroid was the first game to ever actually introduce a map. Metroid and Metroid 2 did not have a map. That was not a common thing back then. And I feel like in recreating a visible map that the player can use and view during this game, they've gone ahead and restructured I can't say the entire thing, but probably most of the map, I am assuming, is going to be a completely new place to explore. One of my favorite things to see in this trailer was the new suit that we saw, the lightning armor. And that is really exciting because suit upgrades and suit progressions is something that's a little bit more recently added to the Metroid sort of lore and the gameplay experience. The original games didn't truly have that, at least not on a regular basis. And to be fair, even the more recent games, I mean, honestly, Other M did not have any suit upgrades, and that is the most recent console game, and it is the most recent Samus adventure that we've played. No suit upgrades. So to see something like that happening in this game is really exciting. The lightning armor, some new ability to have offensive and defensive capabilities. It looks really cool. Kind of reminds me, the color scheme reminds me of the Phase-On suit from the first Metroid Prime game. Really exciting to see. I hope that means that there might be another 1 or 2 suit upgrades as well, because that would be really exciting to have a couple of different ways to make yourself stronger and more powerful via your Varia power suit throughout the game, so that would be really cool. Now, it should be noted that the lightning suit is actually apparently one of the 3 or 4 Aeon abilities, which is something that has been introduced in this game to the Metroid universe. The original Metroid 2 didn't have it, no other Metroid game has had it, although there's been different ways to kind of power up Samus in previous games. In this game, Samus Returns, they've created these Aeon abilities. The lightning suit is one of them. One of the other things is the phase drift, and that is pretty exciting, although I'm a little worried it might make the game too easy. What the phase drift does is it essentially slows down time around you, so Samus can hop around and maneuver around the ability, the environments, and the enemies, and do all these cool things. It's kind of like bullet time. It looks very cool. If it's implemented into the game properly and doesn't become a crutch or something that breaks the game, then it would be freaking awesome. And to be fair, knowing Nintendo and how they develop Metroid games, they probably will not have introduced this ability if it was going to break the game or make it too easy. So I'm really hoping that that's the case. One of the other cool things they had was the Beam Burst. And the Beam Burst is basically, it's something that I kind of have been dreaming for a really long time, which is some sort of automatic firing capability missile weapon. And I don't mean missile as in missiles that, you know, little rockets that explode. I mean missile projectile, whether it could have been bullets or beams or missiles or whatever. And I discussed, when discussing my sort of theories for Metroid Prime 4, I talked about how I've wanted for a long time the ability for Samus to have some sort of automatic fire weapon, because she's never truly had that. And the Beam Burst is basically that. It is literally like a non-stop barrage of missiles that just literally just like a cannon blast out of her arm cannon. And it's just non-stop chaos. And it's really cool. It's really exciting to see. The way it's being implemented in this game, of course, is through an Aeon ability, and you have a certain amount of Aeon power or certain reserve of Aeon energy, and that sort of determines how and for how long you can use a lot of these abilities, including the Beam Burst. So it's not exactly what my dream has been, but it's pretty close. It's really exciting, and I love seeing what they're doing here. And beyond that, you know, they talked about the amiibo support, and they showed off what the fusion suit looks like in fusion mode. And I know that there's a lot of controversy and hubbub about that. I did discuss it a week or so ago. If you want to hear my thoughts, you can check out that video. Anyway, the point is, they showed off some of that stuff. It's all fine to me. Like, I'm not mad about it. I think it looks cool, and I'm really excited for what's going on there. All in all, I think one of the biggest things we can take away from this new trailer is that this is going to be the most unstoppable, badass Samus we've ever seen or had in a game. And it's another one of the things I have discussed recently. I talked about how some of the tougher, cooler elements of Samus in Other M, they've obviously borrowed some of those elements to put into Samus Returns. I'm personally very excited for that as somebody who enjoys Other M. And then you see all the other things she can do, her 360 aiming, her melee attacks, her wrestling move takedowns, all the Aeon abilities, the new suits and power-ups. It's crazy. They showed us the Spider Ball, what it's going to look like in this game, which of course was first introduced in Metroid 2 for the Game Boy. It looks great. They're giving us a whole new version of Samus. That's really, really exciting. And if this map and world and the traversal throughout it as you're hunting down the 40 Metroids to fight the Queen Metroid, if this plays out and is a long, expansive game the way it's supposed to be, it's going to be one of the best Metroid games ever, which would, to me, would make it one of the best games ever made. So we'll just have to wait and see. I believe in Nintendo, I believe in Metroid, and I believe in this game. It looks fantastic. What did you guys think about the trailer? What other information and cool things did you glean from it? Are you excited for Samus Returns like I am? Totally geeking out? Tell me what you guys think below. Thanks, of course, as always, for tuning in. It's time to be excited for Metroid. And this is Rob of World to Review. I will catch you next time on another video.